All right, guys, so let's go ahead and do our next assignment here. That is 2-11B. All right, and so what we're going to do is a little bit of a face swap. So it's not going to look great. It's not going to be as good as Snapchat, but it'll be fun to mess with and something we can get better at as we move along. So let's go ahead and open up our picture here. And then we're going to hit our download button, and it's going to download to our bottom left-hand corner just like it does every time. Now let's go ahead. We got Photoshop already open. All we got to do, right, is go ahead. I'm going to just open a new one here. In this case, it's landscape, so I'm going to use our default one. And let's drag and drop this in and drag it to fit. All right, so we're going to go ahead and drag it to fit, and I'm not going to make it do it completely, and I'm just going to use my crop tool. All right, and that way we're good to go. All right, that's it so far. Now let's go ahead and make sure we right click, and first of all, rasterize. And then secondly, let's make a copy. So let's go in and duplicate it. Where are we at? Sorry. There we go. Duplicate layer. And we're going to name this one copy. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to rename this one original. All right. So there we go. That's our first thing. Now let's make sure, remember, we always want to have our original to go back to. So we're going to do for our copy, what we're going to do, we're going to go in here and we're going to grab his face and we're going to switch the dad's and the son's face. So I'm going to zoom in. And so first of all, let's go ahead and let's use our lasso tool. Make sure we're on our copy layer. We're just going to go around here. We're going to be able to go in a second, and we'll edit this even more. So you can roughly grab around his face. All right, and we're going to hold down the command key and press J at the same time. And as you can see, it jumped it to a new layer. All right. And now that we have that, we have his face literally on another layer, right? So let's go ahead, and what we're going to want to do, I'm going to go ahead and make sure you're on the copy. Let's go ahead and use the lasso tool to grab the little, Command D to deselect. All right, let's grab the little guy's face here. All right. All right, so there we go, and we're going to do the same thing. Command J, jump it to a new layer. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to rename this layer son and this layer dad. All right, and so as you can see, you can hide those as we put them in there. All right, so let's go ahead and let's start with the sun. We're going to drag, make sure we got the move tool. So switch tools. We're going to drag the sun's face and we're going to put it over the dad's. Now, as you can see, it's not going to be the same size, but I'm going to use Command T. All right, I'm going to transform it. And his you can kind of make fit a little bit better than we can the dad's. And we'll look at that in a second. All right, so now that we've got it that size, what we want to do, we are going to create a mask for this layer. So what we're going to do here, we're going to click boom, and that creates a mask right here. Now I got to go back, my bad, Command Z. I got to make sure that I have this selected. So with it being on that, let's go in here. We're going to select that. All right, now we can click this, and what you'll notice, it creates that mask. Now I can go in with black selected. I can go in my brush, make sure it's a smaller size, and let's turn our hardness down. We can go in, right, and we can get rid of some of this to where it blends in a little bit better there. And we put his face in there. Now, as you can see, right, there we go. As the sun's face, the skin tone doesn't match up just perfectly. Right, and we can transform it a little bit more. So let's drag his head down. All right, there we go. So now that we have that, you can tell that the skin tone and some of that doesn't match up perfectly. So what we can do is, and some of the ear's still there, so go back to B for brush. I'm going to go back and I'm going to fix that there. All right. All right, so now we got the sun's face on there. We can go back to our adjustment layers. Oh, I hit the wrong key. I hit group. All right, our adjustment layers, and we can edit our hue and saturation. All right, and so now we can go in there, and I did the whole thing. So let's go back to 0. All right, remember we want this to work as a clipping mask, meaning it only goes to that one right there. So now as we adjust this, you see can kind of turn that a little bit more by adjusting that saturation and color there, right? So we can match the skin tone a little bit more because the dad's face is a little more red, right? And you can just play with that until you get it to how you want it exactly. So it, like we know, is not going to be perfect right there. You could go back in and blend this in even more using some of your like healing brush tools, right, that we've already used. So, or another thing, we could add a layer to kind of cover over that and blend it together. But this is just kind of giving you guys a rough look at how we want that to look. Okay, so we got the sun. We got our sun in here, and we got that matched up. So let's go ahead, now that we have that. I was on the wrong color there. We'll go back. My bad. Make sure you are on the right layer. All right. So now we got the sun in there with the dad's little goatee coming through. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and do the same thing for the dad's face. So we're going to grab the dad's face. We're going to bring it down here. And now that it's over here, we're going to make sure we have it selected. Boom. Click to create a mask. All right. And now we can go back in there with our paintbrush and paint away some of that. I went a little too far there, right? And add that back in. And we can also kind of drag his face down. There we go. And we're probably going to have to shrink it down as well. And now remember, because we have this link, we can actually, because the sun's face is a little bit wider, we can actually drag that out. And it's going to distort it just a little bit, but you know, it looks funny as it is. So now we can go back in with our paintbrush and finish kind of adding that detail in. All right, and so now we've got our face swap going on, and we've got the baby's face. And I would go back in and fix that because that part is pretty obvious right here. And you can change that with different opacities, right? Being clicked on the sun's face, right? We could go in here and edit some of that to help with some of that blending. You can see that's getting a little bit better as we change that. But you go too low and it'll get really messed up. Okay, so make sure you go in there. You could fix that. That is what we're doing. You only have to do the dad and the son, swap their faces, and then you'll screenshot this. I should be able to see all your layers over here. And yeah, that's all you got for now. Okay.